Hello guys, it's Darksigner here from the German Duel Masters channel and welcome back to another duel video. Today I got for you the second semi-finals match from our third IDC tournament and I'm playing at the bottom of your screen with my Forbos Control deck, playing against Liveforlife and his Water Nature Dark Aggro deck. He's the aggressor in this matchup and I have to survive his attacks and control the game, and then try to finish if I'm clear of all his attacks. And he starts the game with an Aqua Holcus on turn 3. Of course, you'd rather want to see a 2-drop in an aggressive deck, so that was quite unfortunate. Maybe he didn't have the Darkness mana for Melnia, and so he had to charge it. I myself start with a Bronze Arm Tribe. That's a pretty good start. That's everything I want in turn 3. And he follows it up with his own Bronze Arm Tribe. So he's going ahead in mana again. But he attacks into my Dimension Gate, so I can search the Sky Sword for next turn. Unfortunately, I don't draw any light mana, so I can't play it. But I can still charge it, and if I get a soul swap out of my shields, I can swap it in and then get a shield back and also accelerate my mana even more. And I think I checked my deck, so I think I know that there is definitely a soul swap in my shields. So that's why I charged it. And he plays another Aqua Holcus and follows it up with a Melnia, so he has pretty good board presence. And yeah, finally he breaks some shields, but I didn't get any shield triggers. But this burst shot comes in really clutch. It wasn't broken out of the shields, but I'll take the hard cast in this case because all his creatures were 2k and below. So yeah, maybe I in fact didn't have a soul swap, or okay, here it is. So I remembered it right, there was a soul swap, but he got rid of it by the effect of Gajira Boot that destroys the shield immediately. So yeah, there's no chance to activate any shield triggers. It just destroys the shields without breaking it. Now I'm thinking about whether I should kill the Gajira Boot or play the Sky Sword in my hand. And I decide to go the safe route and get rid of his creature first, so he doesn't have any attackers, because I don't know if he's on Lost Soul or not. And if he did have Lost Soul and discarded all of my cards, I didn't have any answers. Maybe I had one shield more, but that wouldn't be too good. The Meltdown is pretty nice if I have to finish the game and use some luck in there, but first I can still clear the board because I have enough removal cards in hand. Another burst shot comes down. I really want to shout out Liveforlife for using Giga Rise. I think that's a really interesting tech in his deck. It's not commonly played, but I think it's really good because you can recycle Aqua Holcus and Lucky Ball, which is also in his deck, and also Melnia, as it's part water. So yeah, he plays 2 Spinning Terrors. Those are also pretty good cards for turn 2. But yeah, at this point I can just remove them with my APOC. And yeah, now I'm just thinking about if I want to use Rebirth or Terror Pit, I think. Or maybe I can go for Sky Sword into Faliga and then recycle something like APOC or Soul Swap. But okay, I go the rebirth route, so I can fetch my Belix the Explorer out of my deck, quickly check the cards I have left in deck. And yeah, looking at my grave, Belix retrieves Dimension Gate, and I still have 3 mana left, so I can use it to search a creature out of my deck. So I'm not really sure what I want to search here. I think I'm going for Liveforlife, Forbos, or another Sky Sword. One of those 3 options. And yeah, I chose the Liveforlife, so I can get back my Apox or Soul Swap. So Lucky Ball is a really good play at this point, because it draws 2 cards, and he follows it up with a Melnia. So yeah, I can't go into Liveforlife and retrieve Apoc, because I couldn't use it the turn I would do that, but I drew Soul Swap, so maybe I would just go for swap and swap the Liveforlife in and retrieve the Apoc, or I swap the Forbos in and search for another Apoc out of my deck, and then I can clear his board again. So as you see, my strategy is really just just survive as long as possible and try to stabilize. And yeah, I really have to deplete all his resources, and if I can get an opening, I will start to search for one of my finishers. But at this point he still has too many cards in hand, still has 3 cards, so he's likely to drop 2 creatures on board. And yeah, he gets Giga Rise again. Here you see what I meant by Giga Rise being a really good tech in this deck. He retrieves Lucky Ball and draws 2 cards again, so he's back at 3 cards in hand. So yeah, his deck is really well built, never seems to run out of resources, and top deck Gajira Boot can always spell game over for me. So I really have to be careful. So I think at this point I play Sky Sword, so I can follow it up with the Terror Pit. I think this was the safest route, because I definitely needed one more shield in case he has a Gajira Boot. And luckily I didn't hit a multi-sif from top of my deck, so I could follow it up with Terror Pit. But now my resources are really depleted, and yeah, he goes for Melnia and Gajira Boot. I didn't know why he. Because I know why he didn't attack, because he wants to play around Meltdown. But I think in this case maybe you should go for it, because if I top deck a mass removal, I can just clear his whole board, and that didn't do anything. I think I would just believe in my shield triggers that I have 2 triggers to clear the attackers. But yeah, you don't know which is better, if you play around the mass removal or you play around the meltdown. It's yeah, both okay, I guess. And here I sacrifice my last shield to clear the board. It's a very risky move, as I think he's on some evolution creature, so he could clearly make an instant evolution. But unfortunately for him, he doesn't have it. But he discards my meltdown, which is really good for him, because I can't fire it off now, because I think with 3 creatures I'm pretty safe, as I don't think getting 3 shield triggers is pretty common. I think that's a rare case, and I think at this point I just lost the game, because I top deck Ghost Touch, and even if I discard that, I can't stop the attack from Bronze Arm Tribe. So yeah, he came through. He had very good resource game with the Lucky Balls and Giga Rise. I couldn't stop the constant onslaught of creatures he put on board. And I think what won him the game ultimately was also discarding my last card in hand with his discard with the pointer, because I think Meltdown with 3 creatures for attackers, I think that's enough. I would have definitely taken my chance on that. And yeah, that one sealed the game for him. He's leading 1-0 against me, and now I get to start. And yeah, not the ideal turn 3 play I want. I'd rather see Bronze Arm Tribe, but Dimension Gate is the second best. I just search for Bronze Arm Tribe so I can play it in turn 4 and then turn 5 follow it up with a burst shot. And yeah, getting Bronze Arm Tribe out early is also pretty crucial with Sky Sword in your mana zone, as every Soul Swap in your shields just replaces the shield and gets you 1 mana ahead. So yeah, I definitely want to play that next turn. He plays his own Bronze Arm Tribe, which is really nice. It accelerates his mana so he can play more creatures next turn. And yeah, I think here he runs into a Terror Pit, and yeah, he does. So I get rid of the Melnia, as Bronze Arm Tribe can't attack anymore, and Melnia is the bigger threat as it has Slayer and is unblockable. I think Slayer isn't really that relevant in this matchup. It's a good effect, but I think being unblockable is what makes it really dangerous. So yeah, now as I mentioned, I play my Bronze Arm Tribe, and yeah, I hope he's playing some small creatures, which he doesn't. Unfortunately, he plays a 3k creature with Rumbling Terrorhorn and searches a Gajira Boot for next turn. So yeah, Burst Shot would only kill 1 creature, so I'm definitely not going to use this one. I think I'm going for Forbos and search an APOC maybe, and just trade the Bronze Arm Tribes. Let's see what I want to charge. I think the Bronze Arm Tribe or the second Forbos is what I'm going to charge, or maybe the Bazagazil Dragon, as I can easily swap it out. So playing it with Soul Swap is a bit more mana efficient. So yeah, I charge the Bronze Arm Tribe as I don't really need the mana excel at this point. I could have played it so I can play Bazagazil next turn, but I thought that getting APOC out of the deck is a better removal option than Bazagazil, because Bazagazil only deals with 1 creature, and oh, APOC can deal with multiple, but yeah, I don't go for the APOC. Maybe there are some of them in my shields, I don't quite remember. Interesting that I go for Rebirth. Yeah, it's good because I can kill the Terrorhorn and go for a Sky Sword and retrieve a shield, or go for Faliga and get the Rebirth right back. I think my intention was to play Sky Sword out of the deck so I can get some shields again, which is very crucial in this matchup. Goes for Aqua Surfer. That was a really interesting play. I thought he would definitely go for the Gajiro Boot, so I have 1 less shield. Because he knows the Rebirth in my hand, I think he knows that Terrorhorn is going to die anyway. That's why I don't really understand the move here. I think I'm still going for the Rebirth Sky Sword play. And yeah, I charge the second Forbos as I don't need it at this point. Of course, I could have gone for the Surfer and get a Forbos out, but at this point I don't need a specific spell because I have everything I need in hand. And yeah, as I didn't hit any multi-sif again, I can play Belix, but I don't know if I'm doing it, or if I keep it in hand, but yeah, why not? I lose 1 mana, but I retrieve 1 spell, so I think I'm going for Meltdown, so yeah, that he always has to play around it now. He knows that I have it in hand. So yeah, I still can play Bazagazil Dragon next turn because of the mana charge by Sky Sword. Now he plays Gajira Boot and kills another Sky Sword. So yeah, regarding the multisifs, of course I said I was lucky that I didn't hit 1 multisif, but as I knew 4 out of 6 were already out of the deck, the chances of a multisif being charged was pretty low. So I could really plan ahead with the Sky Sword, so that I can could still play the Belix last turn. And now I'm just going to use the repeatable Tarot Pit, so to say. Just Bazagazil the Gajira Boot away, as it has 3k, and Aqua Surfer is in the burst shot range. And yeah, maybe if he's going to commit 1 or 2 more 2k or lower creatures, I'm going to burst shot them away. Now he plays Giga Rise again. It's really my favorite card out of his deck. I can't say that enough. That's so versatile, and yeah, it's basically like a draw 1 out of your graveyard. And he plays so many of these creatures. He has Aqua Hulkus, Lucky Ball, Rumbling Terrorhorn, Giga Rise. He has so much search power. I think it's a really well built aggro deck. And now I soul swap out the Forbos so I can search for spells. And the first spell I'm going to search is another soul swap. And yeah, I think I'm going to follow it up with a burst shot here, as nothing on my field dies and I can clear his whole board. Yeah, regarding my opponent's deck, I think the one thing he could change is maybe add fire instead of nature. Then you lack some of the search power by Terrorhorn and the mana excel by Bronzam Tribe, and some of the flexibility with Soul Swap, but you would get some speed attackers in, as this color combination can't get out any speed attackers without playing an evolution creature. So you would get that, and you would get more targets to recycle with Giga Rise, so something like a Pyrofighter Magnus maybe. But I think his deck works really well. That's why he's in the semifinals now. So I drew another Forbos. I could just hardcast it and search for a spell, but then that wouldn't really benefit me here. Maybe I want to recycle the Searing Wave with Belix, so I can get rid of both of his creatures, or I just go for Soul Swap, and yeah, that's what I'm doing. Nearly tapped my only fire mana. That was a close one. And yeah, I just Soul Swap the other Forbos I had in mana in, so I basically play Soul Swap for 2 mana, and then I can still follow it up with an APOC and clear his board. And now he only gets 1 Melnia on board, so I could crash my Bazagazil into it, but I don't think I want to waste my Baza on that. Yeah, I think I'm going for Forbos, and as Forbos effect stacks, I can search 2 spells now, and yeah, one of them being Volcano Charger. That was the obvious choice. The other one, Soul Swap. So now I can kill the Melnia. And yeah, that stacking ability is what made me even build this deck, as I think this is such a powerful mechanic that you can search multiple spells the more Forbos you get out. This idea gen was originally just a standard file control deck. Maybe some of you had experiences with that kind of deck, where you play Faliga to recycle your spells, and you typically play 2 Forbos to search spells out of your deck. And yeah, my deck at that time wasn't really that good, so yeah, I was pretty unhappy with it, and the only good part I thought about the deck was the stacking ability of Forbos. I really just used his effect, and I was not content with it. I thought, why only play 2 if you can play 4 and stack the effect even more? And that's how this deck came to life. And maybe you see the third one coming out here. I play Belix to retrieve the Dimension Gate. And now I seem to tap 3 mana for Soul Swap. Yeah. No, I play the Dimension Gate first, so yeah, okay. Now I see the line of play. I search for the Sky Sword, and then I still have 3 mana left and can still Soul Swap something in. Maybe the third Forbos or the Cryptic Totem. Yeah, the Cryptic Totem. Now I'm going offensive here, as he gave me a turn to play. He didn't play anything out of his hand, just passed his turn. That was the perfect opportunity for me to finally get one of my own finishes on board and pressuring him instead of him pressuring me. And he plays Giga Rise and retrieves Melnia and soul swaps the Cryptic back into my mana zone for a Sky Sword. So I think at this point he tries to deck me out, as he has a higher deck count than me. I searched so much with Forbos and charged so much with Sky Sword that my deck got a bit depleted. So he's trying to force me to go in and maybe win by some shield triggers or just waiting it out for a deck out. But I think I will just wait for an opportunity to put the Cryptic back on board again, or I'm just going very safe here. I think I kill the Giga Rise with Baza Gazil and then maybe I'm going in. I remember this game was pretty intense. I was thinking a lot what I should do because I'm under 10 cards, I think. And yeah, that's not the best situation to be in, because I know I have limited access to Soul Swap in deck, and yeah, I'm just playing it safe and waiting for an opportunity to get the Cryptic Totem out. But I think my plan changes along the way because I just draw all those dead Bronze Arm tribes. I think at some point I'm just going in and start poking shields one by one, so I don't lose to 2 shield triggers. Because 4 shields, I have a pretty reliable defense. He doesn't go through 4 shields that easily. And my meltdown is pretty much dead because yeah, I have too many shields, and that was a really unfortunate hit. I wanted to get more bodies on board for attacking, but that Faliga would have gave me access to Cryptic Totem by retrieving the Soul Swap out of my graveyard. So that was not good. So at this point I'm just thinking about, should I do this risky move again with another Bronze Arm tribe or play Baza Gazil? But crashing Baza Gazil isn't really good as Melnia takes it out and I have 4 shields, so I think I will leave the Melnia on the board, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And now I'm doing what I described a minute ago. I'm just poking one shield slowly and steadily, not trying to risk anything. I don't want to give him 2, 3 or 4 cards to work with. Now he plays Spinning Terror into Soul Swap, gets the pointer, so he tries to snipe my Buzzer Gazelle, I think, and discards the Meltdown, which is dead anyways at this point. I just didn't want to lose the Buzzer Gazelle. And now I draw the Soul Swap. That is pretty nice, as I can try to set up my finishing play, because Cryptic plus Baza and 2 creatures are already game. And at this point, because I already broke one shield, I only need 1 additional attacker for that to be game. So I think I'm just going for Soul Swap for Cryptic Totem, and then Buzzer Gazelle the pointer away, and yeah, then I'm going to end my turn. I don't know what I'm thinking about. Maybe about charging Bronze Arm Tribe or not, but I think I keep it in hand as he plays a random discard, and I need some dead fodder in my hand that can be discarded, so he doesn't hit my Buzzer Gazelle safely. So yeah, I play Soul Swap here. Okay, I go for Foul Eager instead. I don't know why I did this move. Maybe I was afraid that he has an answer for Cryptic Totem in his hand, and I decide that going in, just going in with my creatures 1 by 1 is going to give me the game eventually. But yeah, in hindsight, I think I would have taken the risk and just played the Cryptic again and hope he doesn't have an answer for that. And yeah, he goes for Bronze Arm Tribe Gajira Boot, and the last card in hand is unknown, so I don't think he had the answer, so that could have been my game. But now I top deck another Faliga, which is pretty lucky, and I think I can play Cryptic out and Buzzer Gazelle one of his creatures away, and then go for game. Or I just take the risk here and attack with everything, as I have 4 attackers on board. But I think I'm still not really too confident with going in with all cards. So the Sky Sword breaks his 3rd shield. I think next turn I'm just going in with Buzzer Gazelle, as he has Double Breaker, and then he has no mass removal in his shields, so I'm definitely going to seal the game next turn. The last turn was a bit too risky, as 1 shield trigger could have been enough for him, but this turn it's really safe to go in. And yeah. An Aqua Surfer, yeah, he had the trigger, so last turn I wouldn't have been able to attack for game. I played it very conservatively. Maybe I could have been a bit more aggressive, but as I was down a game, I didn't want to risk anything. So yeah, I take game 2, so we are tied 1-1, and we are going to game 3. He has the advantage that he can start. And yeah, now I'm thinking about what to charge, as the Ghost Touches are really not that good in turn 2. In later turns it's a nice discard, as you have already answers against Terra Dragon Archie, but if you get Archie on your opponent's side of the board in turn 2, you're pretty much screwed. You have to rely on your shield triggers, and that's not something I want to do. Yeah, I was waiting if I drew a nature mana, in that case I would have charged that and not kept the Sky Sword in hand, as I would have played Bronze Arm Tribe either way in turn 3 and had the Sky Sword for turn 4. But unfortunately I didn't draw any nature mana, so that's why I had to charge the Sky Sword in turn 2. He searches Gajira Boot again with his Terrorhorn and goes in for 2 shields, and luckily I get the Soul Swap. I didn't get that combo in the first 2 games, but in the third game he broke into the Soul Swap, and as I had 4 mana, and when Bronze Arm Tribe goes into mana it's at 5, I can play out Sky Sword. So now I'm 1 mana ahead again, and I can play Volcano Charger into Bronze Arm Tribe. So yeah, I played 4 mana accelerators in the last 2 turns. So yeah, I'm pretty set up on mana, and I can kill his Bronze Arm Tribe by battle with the Sky Sword. And here he comes with the Gajira Boot, so he has 2 3k buddies on board, so the burst shot is pretty dead. And here does a move I didn't quite get. He got rid of the Sky Sword. I think going more aggressive would have been the better play, but I think he wanted to play around Soul Swap, which I have access to now with the Belix, and also with the Faliga, because I already have 1 engrave. So yeah, at this point I'm pretty scared of Arki, so I just charged the Ghost Touch, as Arki would be pretty much game over, not 100%, but would be really bad. And yeah, so I Terror Pit the Gajira Boot and get the Soul Swap back with Belix, and I have a blocker now for his Rumbling Terrorhorn. So if he decides to go in, I can just trade them. And he plays Aqua Surfer, but I don't mind that he gives me back Belix, as it is a tutor for my mana zone. I can freely get any spell out of my mana zone back, so I in fact think it's a good thing for me that he bounced it. The Mecha Dragon's Breath, I really would have preferred it to be in my hand last turn, as I could have cleared the Gajira Boot and the Terrorhorn both at the same time. But yeah, now I can just Soul Swap for Forbos and search the APOC, so I can get rid of a 2k and a 3k buddy. Yeah, here's a small issue. I couldn't target it, but he knows that I want to destroy the Terrorhorn as well. So yeah, this game looks pretty good for me, as I charged so much mana, and he only has 2 cards, 1 in hand, 1 on board. So he seems to struggle on his water mana. He has only 1 of them. Maybe that's the problem here, because he really needs some draw power to get more cards in his hand and therefore more on board. I could just maybe play Faliga and Soul Swap something in, but the safest play here is just to get rid of the Melnia, and that's what I'm going to do. Just Belix back the Volcano Charger and play the Volcano Charger again, so I don't lose any mana with this play. And now he clears my last shield with Gajira Boot, so I'm with the back against my wall. I could go risky here and play Meltdown, but I think it's definitely not the play you should do here, because 1 shield trigger and and he wins the game. 1 Aqua Surfer or 1 Soul Swap, so that's definitely too risky. So yeah, I think I just have to clear his board and hope he doesn't have an instant evolution, but I think he only has 6 mana and 1 card in hand, so it's really unlikely that he has the right cards in hand, like Evolution Bait plus the Evolution and all the mana to play it. So I'm just deciding what I should charge, because I have 3 6 mana removal spells in my hand, and I think that Burst Shot is the most expendable one, so I can charge that. And then I play Terror Pit for the Gajira Boot. And I draw into another Fal-Iga, which is pretty nice. Another recycler. And I'm definitely going for Fal-Iga and then maybe a Soul Swap for the Forbos. I think that's the best play, as I need to search something like Dimension Gate to either get to my finisher or get something like Sky Sword to keep myself in the game a bit longer. And yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I search the Soul Swap, and at this point I realize I don't have a Forbos in mana. If I had charged the Fal-Iga, I could have gone for Soul Swap plus Dimension Gate in this turn, but ultimately it doesn't really matter too much, as keeping the Dimension Gate in hand isn't that bad, as I can react to the stuff he's going to play. So if he puts too much pressure on board, I can search for the Sky Sword, and if he doesn't, I can go for Bazagazil and clear his only creature. And yeah, sorry for the cut here, the transition. We had issues recording this tournament. We apologize for that. At this point, Spalding is recording the match. And yeah, we know the cards in my hand are Fal-Iga, Meltdown, and Dimension Gate. And I think we skipped a bit ahead. A turn ahead, he passed again. He Live just drew 1 card and passed. So now he's at 3 cards in hand. I don't know what his hand is, so it's really unfortunate for him that he can't play anything. And yeah, I used the Dimension Gate to search Sky Sword, and I drew into another Dimension Gate. So with the second one, I think I'm going to search for a finisher, or maybe Bazagazil. Okay, now I search another Sky Sword, so I'm really going all out defense here. Yeah. And he draws again. Maybe this time he will play something. 2 turns just being skipped is really not what you want to see in an aggressive deck. And here I say that he has to peek, because the peeking is mandatory, or like remind him, do you want to peek? But afterwards we learned that it is in fact mandatory, so if the opponent has a shield, you have to look at it. But yeah, I couldn't imagine a scenario where you wouldn't want to peek at the opponent's shields. I think there's no drawback for that effect. And yeah, now I think my hand is something like Fal-Iga, another Sky Sword, and 2 unknowns. I don't remember. I think one of them is still a known card, but I couldn't quite remember here. And now I go for Soul Swap and swap the Sky Sword back in and out. So yeah, now I'm back at 3 shields. At one point I was at 0 shields, so that's really good for me. Finally he plays a water creature that draws him stuff, an Aqua Hulkus, but no follow-up, so I don't know why he's not charging any of the cards he has in hand. Maybe there are some Terror Dragon Archies in his hand, so that might be the issue. Maybe he maybe he wants to keep them in hand and hope that I discard them, and so that he can use that as a tempo swing and attack for game. But my mindset in this game was not unnecessarily discarding any stuff, just keeping the board clear, and if I get an opening, go in with my finishers. So I didn't want to discard prematurely, as I know he's definitely playing at least one Archie, and with 4 cards in hand, and he didn't play something for 2 turns that really gave me the idea that he might have 1 or 2 of them in hand. And as my second Forbos comes out, I search for Morbid Medicine and APOC, and I still have enough mana to fire off the APOC for his 2 creatures. And I think with Morbid I want to retrieve the Balmedius that is in my graveyard, so I can start swinging for his shields and take the game with him. He only plays 1 Spinning Terror, that's not really posing any threat. I think I'm just going for Morbid plus Balmedius here, because I have 1 blocker on board, and I don't see any combination with only 7 or 8 mana that he has access to next turn that could kill me. So I'm just going to stick the Balmedius on board. Yeah, I retrieve it with Morbid. And I think I think about getting back the Belix or the Sky Sword. So here Spalding hovers over my graveyard. You can see all cards there. And I decided to go with Belix, as gives me a wider range of spells, and I can still play it with my last 2 mana I have. So I'm getting back the Burst Shot, as it can clear multiple creatures, and the Spinning Terror is already a card that only has 2k or less, at least if I don't tap anything before. And yeah, here you can see his graveyard. His graveyard is filled with mostly creatures, and yeah, he plays another pointer, so he can discard something useful. Maybe the Faliga was pretty useful, so that was a good hit. Here he forgets to peek at the shield, and even I forget to remind him of that. But yeah, I think it doesn't really make any difference, as I will win the game in the next few turns, as I have Balmedius. If that Balmedius can stick next turn, I will just attack the last shields with my remaining creatures. I'm not a big fan of killing all shields with Balmedius. I think at some point you can just combine the normal attackers with him. And he only gets the Melnia out, that's not enough. And yeah, he really struggled to get his creatures on board this game. Game 1 was a good example for how his deck should work. This game was not that good, and that having the two turns where he didn't play anything, that really swung the game in my favor. And now, yeah, I think the game is over. I just play the 3rd Forbos to be super safe and search for 3 spells. But yeah, I don't really need them at this point. I can just Terror Pit the Melnia away, and then finish the game with Balmedius and Faliga and Forbos. I go for the last shield, and as this color combination doesn't have any mass removal in shield trigger form, I can go for game, and I take the match 2-1. I came back from the 0-1 deficit, GG to live, and I advanced to the finals, which we will see in the future. So